Yeah, according to my watch, it's time to do something new today. Happy Labor Day, everyone. Let's get it. Oh, this is going to be a very interesting morning. Very, very extensive project going on as far as no, not the hat, not the hats behind me. Nah, we got to talk about that in a second. No, what we're talking about is the NBA schedule today, y'all. We're getting right back into it. So much effort went into breaking the season schedule down. So if you guys are calculating, you're trying to get your expert opinions on season totals, your over unders, players that you think are going to be successful today, we are getting into it. Hopefully you guys got your coffee, mimosas, maybe you already got your smoker set, so that way you don't got to worry about dipping out of this stream and getting back into it. It is your boy JR. Happy Labor Day, everyone. It feels like a Sunday because I feel like I've done a lot of work and then got up early just like usual, got the coffee set, but it is Monday, different day, same schedule time. Wanting to bring a lot of that energy and passion to you, same as always. We like to do this week in, week out. This is the TSA Hoop Show. I'm your host, JR. Thank you for joining in today. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, subscribe, so that way you can know where you're getting your NBA, your hoops information from, whether it's for your daily bets, whether it's for anything you want to talk about in the water cooler. This is the spot to get it at. Hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. We absolutely appreciate it. You guys tuning in today. If you're not seeing this now, make sure to tune in later. Go back and do your rewatches. Add this to any of the posts that you're making. Make sure to shout us out on your favorite social media platforms. We would love to chime in on any conversations that you guys are having out there as far as hoops or any other sports are concerned. Before we get into this today, just want to remind you all that this show is brought to you by Drafters app, where you can go get your daily for fantasy sports bets. If you use the code TSA bets, you can get your bet match up to $100. So don't forget to do that. Where we're also doing our daily fantasy drafts. You can see our boy JC hosting those night in and night out with Drafters After Dark, along with our boy Disco. Make sure to tune in there as well. Okay, with that being said, let's get it, as JC says. Let's go. Okay, guys. So we broke down every team's 82 game season, which was, as the title suggests, a labor of love, because we love hoops just as much as any other sport here at the sports affiliation. Broke it down, calculated the records, because we wanted to make sure we were getting as close as possible to making sure that every team had that 82 game record. Our reasons why. And we have posted by division 4 out of the 6 divisions. So you make sure to go to sportsaffiliation.com, our website, where we have that major ticker posted. And we'll go ahead and just show that right now for you guys, so that way you can get to see that as well. Again, that's the sportsaffiliation.com, where we have our hoops posted as well. Okay, look at this here. Look at this here. Breakdown. We broke down the season, and what we have featured here Every team for y'all wins and losses. So if you guys want to get your over unders early, make sure to go right to that page. Title of it TSA Hoops NBA season breakdown, win loss predictions. Down below, we have it broken down by division, which we are going to get into today. We're going to get into some of these guys. Of course, you can see some of these are linked up. That's because we have the separate page for those specific divisions where we break down each team by team. But I want to get to some of the major teams right now. So without further ado, let's get into it. Oh, okay. So last season, Boston Celtics won the NBA championship, and a lot of stuff happened in between the beginning and end. So that Atlantic division, which is featuring Boston. Let's see. Go ahead and get this breakdown real quick. Get this up for you real quick because we got Boston, New York. Who else we have in this division? Trying to go off memory right now. Brooklyn. Where are we at? San Diego, California. That's where we're at, buddy. That's Southeast. Boston, Philadelphia, New York, Knicks, Brooklyn Nets, and Toronto. Okay, so Boston, we have winning the division again this season. No, no doubt about it. But um, there's this big debate right now as to whether Boston uh or yeah, JC says we ready. Yeah, we ready. Whether Boston or not, it's Boston or not right now for that division. And the field seems actually a lot more enticing this season because of all the moves that were made for several teams in that division, mainly Philadelphia and New York. But one of the other questions outside of Boston or not is whether Boston is going to hit that same win mark that they won last season. And if you get the 62 and a half win mark, I bet the under because I put Boston at 60 wins this season, and I mean a hard, like a not an easy 60. It's more like a soft 60. Um, the matchups this year are absolutely insane. We talked about it last week that there are a lot of back-to-back games featuring an away game. So to kind of flesh that out for those of you that aren't really aware as far as the terminology is concerned. You have a team like Boston, and then say you'll have a team like Cleveland. Boston will go to Cleveland, right, on a Monday, play them on a Monday, and then on a Wednesday, Boston will play Cleveland again in Cleveland. Normally, what you would see during the season is those were flip flops. So it's a lot of gamesmanship there. You play some players, you figure out some minutes. You say, oh, we can reserve them because, or we can play them harder because they're going to come back home. They have more time to rest. Things like that come into play. Whereas this time, it's more of those teams, especially some of the in division games, are going back to back. That may change anytime there's a schedule change or rule change. It seems like it highly impacts the outcome of the season. I mean, you saw a lot of players just not be able to make it throughout this 82 game season because of the requirements pushed out by the NBA for a lot of these players to play or show up in these games. Great for the ticket sellers, bad for the players, crazy outcomes for the teams because what you saw was out in the East, Boston, and then a lot of other teams like way down here trying to jockey for a position. Out West, a lot of teams just sort of just locked in. It was just locked all the way through 1 through 7. The seeding was absolutely crazy, and it was because of the availability of certain players or the inavailability of other players. Boston, I believe, is going to be affected by that. Not greatly, but just enough. Even with all the other stuff that happened during the season, during the off season, Olympics and all that stuff. I think Boston does not reach I think they reached a 60 win mark, but I think they're going to struggle getting there. So even with that 60 win mark that we posted here on under the article on the sportsaffiliation.com, do God to bleed green, put at 60 and 22. And it's just going to be a huge question mark as to what the game plan is going to be this season. One of the things that we noted is that all the offseason stuff, the team isn't young enough. They're actually old and mature enough to where ego doesn't affect them, where things don't affect them as far as like contracts and playability are concerned. I mean, Jason Tatum took a it all took a points backseat. I don't want to say take a backseat as far as the player is concerned, because what he did, essentially being more of a distributor, um, absolutely elevated everyone's game. That which is MVP esque, I want to say, but the way that he took a back seat and then got awarded, and then also got awarded with a contract that season, and the way that everyone got paid out, you would think that for a lot of other teams, ego uh, would be taken into account. I took that into account for this team as the one thing that could affect them. It may not be enough to be a super detriment as much as the scheduling and all of those stuff I mentioned are. SoCal, yeah, yeah, yeah. SoCal, yeah. Ball never sleeps. For you guys that are working today, again, I want to say happy labor to you. Hopefully that you have a short shift or you get paid double time today. So much love to you. Um, so outside of them, the rest of that division, just taking a look here real quick. Again, Philly, and we're gonna dissect them in a second. New York, Brooklyn, and of course Toronto. Um, so the next in line for that division, Philadelphia, I have them at 54 wins, 54 and 28. Okay. Which is a significant amount of wins considering that they do share that division with New York and Boston. And for this team, it's going to be more about matchups night in and night out. Philadelphia is, now that they have Paul George, they're lucking out. They get to be able to play 2 out of 3 of their players with PG-13, Maxey, and Embiid. They get to rotate those guys in and out. They don't have to worry about guys like Tobias Harris coming in and slowing down or being non-existent in their offense. Uh, Philly also had acquired Buddy Hield for a little bit. I think he moved to Indiana. I think that's how that worked. Or he acquired him from no, they got him from Indiana, and then he ended up going over to Golden State. They don't have to worry about not utilizing a guy like Buddy Hield in their offense. They have a lot more youth, talent, and all-star power to be able to compete and try to stay behind teams like Milwaukee and Boston out in the East. In fact, if you go to the prediction sheet again that we posted on the website, Philadelphia is listed as sixth, um, and at from the overall rankings, which is actually a pretty good improvement upon what they did last season as far as the standings are concerned. Again, most of my concern with them reaching that total is going to be, can they stay healthy? We saw what Embiid did closer towards the India Olympics, but he runs so heavy and so sluggishly that I think that they're going to need for him to take some games off. And I'm not talking about like a Kawhi level type of rest where it's like, will he, won't he, on again, off again type of thing. I mean, purposefully getting Embiid to 100% closer towards the end of the season, because every single time in the playoffs, we seem to continue to mention Embiid, his fatigue, and his injuries as a result of why this team cannot get to the Eastern Conference Finals. It's absolutely mind blowing. Outside of the one shot that Kawhi did over in Toronto to keep him beat out of the Eastern Conference Finals, year in year out, it's always the onus has always been on Embiid. So I'm trying to think to myself, will he show up health wise, be a present body there towards the end of the season and into the playoffs? The answer for me is yes, because adding Paul George, who has been one of the more healthier players, one of the more consistent players, at least as offense is concerned, has been able to sort of backpack a team. Um, and that's going to help Tyrese Maxey, of course, because Tyrese Maxey has been the healthier of the two players between him and Embiid over the last few seasons. So having both of those guys available and be able to sort of share that load is gonna help. The biggest concern, of course, outside of all that, they're looking a little bit like the Clippers now because the Clippers did the same thing with Harden, Kawhi, and Paul George, and then it ended up being two legs out of that three-headed or two heads out of the three-headed monster that weren't available. Harden kept being out, in and out, and Kawhi was in and out. So it was Paul George essentially leading that team, leading that Clippers team last season to the win total that they did. Now, is Philly going to suffer the same fate? There's a chance that that happens, but it would highly depend on Tyrese Maxey, and I don't believe that he's going to completely fall from map. So I think he should be good. Um, Now let's get to the other exciting team in the Atlantic. That's New York. Okay, if you guys are betting over under on New York this season, I had the win total. We had the win total at 53. That's a game behind Philadelphia. That's the difference in like a tiebreaker or dropping a game because everyone's rested or they just weren't paying attention to some subpar team. This team, they lost Hardenstein, but they didn't completely lose their interior defense. They lost enough of that grit to where they traded defense for offense, so where you wonder if they're going to go sort of like the route of Milwaukee, scoring well, having the bodies there to score, but needing to score so much because they won't be able to defend as well as previous seasons. So you get this, you get closer towards the end of the season. You get guys that are doing that seven that are in that 7-man rotation that Tibbs loves to put out there. Still don't know why he loves to put that out there, but he rotates short. And now these guys that have been running suicides all summer, getting their cardio up, are they going to be physically available to play? They're going to need to be 80 game players. I mean, there aren't 80 game players really. The only one that exists right now that is current is Mikael Bridges, who just went over to New York. Josh Hart is a very close second because he was consistently available until he got injured within the playoffs. This team coming back healthy will be a complete benefit for this team because, as we all know, Brunson just he had no gas at the end of the season. At the end of the New York season, he had no gas left. He'll come back strong, definitely be improved upon from last season, but you got to be able to run this marathon. It's not a sprint, and there are a lot of teams that start out hot, get figured out, and just lose their edge somewhere around December, early January, and then just fitter out, or they get a little bit of a streak around the All-Star break, and then one guy gets injured, and that messes up their whole rotation. New York is set up to where one of those guys can fall the wayside, get injured, but what they need to do is be able to have a big enough rotation outside of 7 men to be able to withstand the test of the time over that period. So guys like Jericho Sims are going to need to step up. I believe that New York has the the personnel to do it. It's just a question of whether it all pans out. I say yes. New York at 53. You let me know if you do the over under on New York. And then we're just going to get through real quick through Brooklyn and Toronto, who two teams where, I mean, they're not really pushing out great products. Okay. So Brooklyn, I got finishing at with 22 wins and Toronto with 11. And it's mainly because of personnel, youth, um, lack of real talent and leadership within those teams. They're still trying to figure it out which direction they want to go. And again, I could be completely wrong about this, but I don't think I am, especially about Brooklyn. They're in a they're in a division that's too tough to conquer right now. You're talking about out of the out of a quarter of the games, I believe it's either 20 or 24 games that they're playing within that division. Um, I don't think that they get too many wins, maybe 5 at the most, and then the rest are 17 non-division, and they're splitting between conference and non-conference games. The West, it's just darn near impossible to get a win out of certain teams, out of like 10 of the 15 teams, 16 teams. On and for the East, everyone in every other division is essentially jockeying for a position. It's the weakest division, and that'll be addressed in a future show. Um, the Atlantic division, featuring Miami and Orlando and all them, maybe they can get some wins out of there, but I just don't see this team having an identity just yet to be able to get enough wins. So 22 for Brooklyn, and in Toronto, they got some players, they got some vets. They don't have an identity, they don't have a direction. I think they are in the Grady Dick um, sweepstakes right now. I think that they don't have enough. I think they have lottery ball winning numbers and a lottery ball playing team right now. It's not that they're bad because again, all these guys are professionals. I just think that right now is not a good time to say, oh, they're going to take this type of leap to within a division and even more so the conference. So that's the Atlantic Division. You guys let me know what the over unders are. And you guys get live, get active in the chat. Let me know if you guys want to come up, talk about a specific team. Again, we got if you go back into the chat, we posted two of the articles that just went up today. Talk about the Pacific Division. We also put up the Central Division, who we'll probably get to at another time as well, along with the Atlantic talking about it. But I'll give you guys a second to settle in. I'm going to go ahead and get my coffee, listen to some of this jazz music real quick. And a lot of y'all may be sleeping in, resting from your weekend of getting your fantasy football teams together. So bravo to y'all. But right now, we got to talk about we got to talk about a division that's not posted right now. That's still being written with love. Um, y'all, listen. Um, Northwest Division. We Northwest Division did some damage last year, y'all. Oh my gosh. Okay, so don't forget the Northwest Division. It features three. There's only 5 teams in the division, so 3 of these teams went 1, 2, 3. Okay, I rarely ever see that happening. Minnesota, Oklahoma City, and Denver all just went, put them up to the West. Of course, we ended up with the Eastern Conference uh, team as the NBA champion. But I sincerely thought that the Northwest was a shoe in to win it. Yo, what up, Antonio? What up? What up? What up? What up? Good morning. We're talking the Northwest Division right now. Breaking down the schedule. You guys can see that at sportsaffiliation.com. And I'm just going to go ahead and put that up here. I'm just going to go ahead and share that with y'all right now. So that way, if you guys need a reminder, we're just going to go ahead and whoop. We're breaking down these teams right here. Minnesota 59 wins. Oklahoma City with a close 58. Denver down there with 53. And Iggy, I love you. Thank you for the new icon, the mock-up and everything like that. But I'm gonna tell you why it's why in just a second. So chill out. All right. And then who else? It's not yeah. Portland down there somewhere. Yo, what's up, Portland? And then what's this Utah? Um yeah, got my Brunson jersey. Can't wait for Knicks basketball. We just talked about your Knicks. So make sure that you go back in the stream. We broke down the Knicks for you with Brunson and them. It's gonna be a fire season for you guys. Appreciate you guys showing love. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button because we don't want to give this information out and you guys not get it. We want to make sure you guys have full ammo going into every week of the NBA season. Every week. Because we're here early in the morning rocking it. All right. Northwest Division. Um, guys, uh, it's gonna be very very ugly this this season. It might be so ugly that all these the standings right now could be completely upside down because I got Minnesota coming back up here at 59 wins, a win behind Boston, mainly because this team is featuring two, three Olympians, and I think that Anthony Edwards might try to backpack this team this season, and he might do a good job of it. Um, it's one of the strengths of this team that they Ant is essentially a strength of this team. His turnovers have been down. He's improved his jump shot. He's been much more of a vocal leader. The media loves him. I think that if we don't get more Jokic this year, if Denver, and I'll get to them in a second, but if their health doesn't get up and they get back up and running, Anthony Edwards could essentially take over not only the division, but the 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 conference, the Western Conference. Um, as much as I like to knock on Rudy Gobert as far as him getting his DPOYs and everything, but not really showing up, I think that as far as the season is concerned, because again, we're just concentrating on the ability for them to get these season wins. I think that with him and Cat coming back into form, I think those two guys are there's something to watch out for. Um, it's very, very hard for a team to be successful against a team that is defensively sound in the paint. If you can't score those easy buckets, those layups, getting those backdoor cuts and everything like that, then you're kissing up essentially half of your scoring volume goodbye. I mean, you could try the out and in is what I like to call it, shooting from outside, causing defenders to have to draw themselves out of the paint to open up those driving lanes. But Minnesota likes to clog the paint, and they have guys that can defend on the perimeter. So, what I'm saying is good luck against this team. 59 wins is a lot. It's high, but I think it's a solid 59. Um, so the lines maybe be pushed out at 57, 58. I got Minnesota on the over on those lines this year. So that's the first team that I got going out there. The second team, let's talk about Oklahoma City, who are a game behind Minnesota. Now, the reason why I put Oklahoma City right up there is because let me just go ahead and have you guys focus in real quick. Um, don't Oklahoma City just added two players. They added Alex Caruso and they added Isaiah Hartenstein. Okay, those are two guys that are grit and grind. If you have been paying attention, Oklahoma City has had some of the best defense the entire 23-24 season. Some of the best while leading the West. That's very rare air. Of course, yeah, it didn't translate into the playoffs. That's not our concern. Again, in the season, a night in night out matchup nightmare for the rest of the division and the league, featuring SGA who backpack his Canadian team to their finish. Um, featuring guys like Dort, who did come alive for the squad defensively and has been improving his 3-point shooting. And now you're adding another backcourt and front court defender, uh, and you've bolstered your bench in both areas. Being able to add on top of success slowly, incrementally, and become more potent and more dangerous just shows how well this team over an entire this is a 10-year project coming into fruition. Because you forget Sam Presti had that Durant, Westbrook, and Harden team with a bunch of draft picks, kept rotating all those picks between Westbrook, Durant, leaving and re-signing all that stuff, trading Harden and all that stuff, getting more picks, getting Chris Paul to come over and help SGA, the Giddy trade, of course, because that was an acquisition that ended up flipping for Caruso at the end. Um, having the cap space available to sign Hartenstein, who came off of a great season in New York. I mean, you got Chet Holmgren, who was the number two, very close number two to Victor Wembanyama for Rookie of the Year. I mean, the list goes on and on and on as far as acquisitions to molding the talent. And 58 wins is only because when you get to those games of OKC versus Denver, OKC versus Minnesota, OKC versus Boston, they one or two of those you have the other team winning against OKC. But overall, they are going to win way more than you think that they will, because experience they've gained toughness on the interior, and they're going to continue on their defense. And I think Daniel, head coach, is onto something. I think he's right there. I think he's very close, and I think they'll be in perfect position to set themselves up at least at the number 2 seed in the West, if not the number 1 overall. Um, and I'm wondering if maybe them and Minnesota flip flop. I mean, you guys let me know in the chats. You guys let us know in the comments later on if you think who's going to be 1, 2, and 3. Right now, listed for the West, it's Minnesota, Oklahoma City, then Phoenix. Phoenix we're going to get to in the Pac division here in just a few moments. But I mean, you got Dallas right there. Denver's down there only because, again, matchups. And I guess we can go ahead and continue on to talk about them because they are in this division. We're talking about the Northwest Division right now. It's matchups, guys. It's just a lot of the when you talk about season totals, you got to kind of look at we look at a few things, mainly matchups and what part of the year are they playing, because a lot of these teams tend to peter out or kind of shell up as far as what they're doing to try to preserve some energy and maintain their all-stars health in the middle of the season. So you see some funky things happening right before and right after all-star break, or right before and right after the in-season tournament. Remember, we don't have just 2 major breaks now. We only have 1 major break now. We have 2. We got the in-season tournament, which happened early on, the first week of December, and then you have the all-star break. So there's that nice little, like, it looks like the Golden Gate Bridge, where you're going to have this peak of games. Some teams are going to fall off a little bit, but then you're going to get to peak right around the IST. Then some teams are just going to fall off again, and it's going to peak back up again around All-Star break. Then you're going to have some flip-flopping right after that as we lead right into playoffs over here. And Denver is one of those teams where, if healthy, stay up here. But we don't know the status of Jamal Murray right now. I mean, this team lost KCP to Orlando, and Murray didn't have a good Olympics run, which worries me a little bit, but not enough to drop this team below a 50-win total. I got him at 53. And Jokic has proven, I mean, go back and watch that semifinal match with the United States, and you tell me this man can't backpack just about any team in the NBA. I don't care what what's his name from Atlanta did and him going off a couple games. I sincerely believe that Jokic is able to backpack this team for Denver, be a matchup nightmare for a lot of teams night in and night out. Yo, what up, Pete? Happy Labor Day, sir. Go Bears. I believe that he'll be able to backpack this team into winning 53 games. I think that he'll be able to do it for long enough for Jamal Murray to get healthy. I think they'll be able to do it for long enough for Michael Porter Jr. to get healthy. I think they'll be able to do it long enough for Aaron Gordon to get healthy. I think he'll be able to do it long enough for these guys to get healthy, for them to get right. The tail end of the season, right after that All-Star break, is where you're gonna watch Denver just take off, and they're gonna say, "Okay, here they come again. Here they come again." 53 wins for Denver. Okay, so rounding out the division, let's go ahead and get our get right. You guys, again, if you're just tuning in, this is the Sports Affiliations TSA Hoop Show. I am your host, JR. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. We are running this show Sundays traditionally, 7:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. It's 10:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Whatever your time zone is, remember to carry the one, or however you do your time math out there. Um, let's see here. Who do we have left to talk about? Utah and Portland. Utah and Portland. I've been to Portland. Have you guys been to Portland? Portland is actually pretty dope. Great downtown area. Um, Lots of good beer. Um, Voodoo Donuts. Shout out to Voodoo Donuts, yo. In Portland, baby. If you guys don't know about donuts, get you some. They they had actually they have, I think they still have it. There's a franchise. There's another location available in downtown near Campbell. That's in California. It's in the San Jose area. That's where I got introduced to Voodoo Donuts. Back in the time when I was working with some guys who were from Portland and Oregon, and good donuts. Not so good for the Portland Trailblazers though, because they're returning some players who are hungry for wins and want to get involved in the division. But this is not a good year. I don't know what it is. It's not that we think that these teams are bad. It's that when you have certain teams that are sub 25 as far as age, or in there within the 25 to 28 range, and they're starting to peak. They're not peaking, starting to peak. That's very dangerous as far as a matchup is concerned for anyone else in the league who just hasn't found the talent or the the uh the the scheme to stop that talent. It's like Patrick Mahomes 2021. A lot of these teams are facing their version of Patrick Mahomes within their divisions in season in and season out. And this season right now is like playing peak Patrick Mahomes in just about every division. So when we're putting these teams at their win totals, and you're sitting at home thinking, nah, my team got to have more wins than that. Think about who your team's matching up against and how many times they play them during the year. That'll tell you whether you're really going to get to that win total that you're thinking of versus the one that we posted here. One we posted here for Portland. Let's get on down. They're sitting there at 21 wins, 21 and 61 for the season. 21 wins, which is actually pretty good. I know that's 25% of their games, but that's 21 games that are for sure, outside of stealing a couple games, that we know that they can win because they have games against some not so well-to-do teams that are still trying to figure it out, and they still have a good amount of effort and youth to be able to steal and win a couple of games at home. It's just a question of how well they can weather the storm and how many more wins they can steal over that win total. I don't think it's many. And then with Utah, they're being picked apart right now. Um, I know that this team is still trying to figure out what to do with Laurie marketing. They're all star right now. It's sort of, and I don't know if you guys remember this, but Utah had this problem, a similar problem with uh, Andre Kirilenko some years ago, where they continued to sit on him and try to figure out how to build around him, and they never really got to a point where they had something solid. And then he ended up retiring. That ended up leading to the Donovan Mitchell acquisition after that, which we know how that transpired for that team with him and Rudy Gobert, so on and so forth. This team possibly could end up going that direction where they're just going to kind of sit back and wait, but you can only sit back and wait for so long until you waste the talent. They need to figure out something to do and do it now, do it quickly, because again, they're in a division that's jockeying for a position in the upper echelon. If you're playing catch up to in this marathon to someone that's that far distance out, you need to either have a super lucky break with either a breakout star or some scheme that just so happens to work so well that you start to not look like you're stealing games, but like you know that how to win them, and that's to catch up at least a third of the way. The other two thirds are going to be a talent acquisition because if you start to catch fire, you got to be able to ride that wave and have the team to support it. Because sometimes you get a catch a lucky break, and then just like any other good run within the game of basketball, you just fall off. And the last thing is just plain old dumb luck. I mean, Utah is right now they're just an unlucky team to be in this division. Had they been in like the south, in the southeast, had they possibly been in the Central Division, they might have had a little bit better chance, but they're not in the right division to try to crack the. And we're saying the top 10 now, because at the end of the day, you want your record to be within those 10 games to either make the playoffs for sure or make the play in, and not the team this year. So, with that being said, you see the hat. We're talking about the Pacific Division, y'all. Let's just go ahead and get it out the way. The Lakers aren't winning the division. I said it. I love my team, but they ain't did jack squat except fire and hire a new coach and work a little bit in the NBA draft. That's about it. So they're returning a lot of their players. And some of their players have been busy on social media saying that they're on the revenge tour, that they're coming back healthier, et cetera, et cetera. Hope so, because they have successfully missed on every reported free agent that they have been looking to acquire this offseason. Let me repeat, the Lakers, who were ninth in the ninth in the standings, ended up getting into the playoffs at the seventh seed thanks to the rules of the play-in tournament. Are looking to take that same team with all their health concerns, with none of the players that they tried to acquire, now with new coach JJ Redick, and they want to get. Let me put this out there because again, we're talking about the season. They're going to win 51 games, y'all. 51 games for the Lakers. They're not winning the division, but they're getting 51 wins. No, I was not under any influence when talking about this, when going over how it's possible for them to win 51 games. No, that is not a typo. Yes, it's posted. Yes, I'm standing on that. 51 wins. Huge over for a team that's returning a lot of their team. But you guys forget this team was very successful in winning games without shooting the three ball successfully, which should blow a lot of people's minds because you can't really be successful in the West or in this era of basketball at all without being able to shoot the three ball. The Lakers were the worst 3-point shooting team last season, the worst, and that's worse than like teams like Washington and Detroit who both have who both have lost streaks that set records. We're tied them. Okay, they are one of the worst 3-point shooting teams, and yet they successfully got into the playoffs. So that's to show that their defense, being able to turn over the ball and score on the break, were all benefits of this team. That's athleticism and leadership, despite all the close losses and all of the dumb mistakes that were made from the head coaching all the way on down. Okay. Yes, a lot of the scoring, a lot of it depends on LeBron James and Anthony Davis. A lot of it depends on how well they can handle the ball because again, returning I almost said swaggy. I almost said swaggy. Wow. Returning D'Angelo Russell at the point, and I don't know. Again, a lot of this depends on health. Health was a huge factor in the success or detriment of a lot of teams last season. I mean, you saw what happened to Denver. They got beat up and ended up losing that big double digit lead. Um, that happened a lot to the Lakers this season, just not having the right talent available on the court at the time to protect a lot of those leads that they had during a lot of those games. Close losses, still managed to eke out some wins. This team's going to come back smarter, healthier, and more ready to play this season. Be on the lookout. 51 wins. Winner of this division, however, is going to be the Phoenix Suns. You guys make sure to go to the sportsaffiliation.com website. We just posted the what's and the whys, broke down the weaknesses, the strengths, the overall look at the season, and the win totals for these teams. And for Phoenix Suns, they are Phoenix is winning the division, and we got them fourth, which makes sense. Your division winner should go 1, 2, 3, 4, or anywhere from 1 to 8. If you don't have a division winner up there, it's a weak division. Um, they're right behind Oklahoma City. They're 57-25. Um, they added Bradley Beal last season. They've been adding some talent. They shipped out some talent, and they still aren't solid in the middle. They still aren't solid at the center forward position, but they're good enough now, and the team's healthy enough now with Booker and Durant coming off their Olympic runs, uh, to where this team is absolutely going to be catching fire. Okay, because it's all going to be about offensive with this team, and they have a lot of it. They have it in spades. I think they're going to be the highest scoring they're going to have the highest scoring average this season. So hopefully with that scoring volume, they also can show that off in a way that translates to more than the 57 wins. It's all going to depend on Devin Booker. I know that we're all going to talk about Kevin Durant and his ability to score the ball. We saw what he did when he came back not 100%, 8 for 9 in that game in the Olympics. Pure score, but this team is going to be it's essentially like Boston right now. Because Phoenix has a Tatum problem, and their Tatum is Devin Booker. Let me say that again. From a scoring perspective, Jay, Jalen Brown is to Kevin Durant as Jason Tatum is to Devin Booker. Okay? They need to figure out what to do with Booker and do it quickly. They're going to need to make sure that he is either the prime facilitator or one of the best volume scorers, best efficient scorers that we've seen in the league. Okay. He's going to need to be getting close to that 50, 40, 90 club, if you know what I mean. He's going to need to get to the line. He's going to need to be able to dominate with his jump shot. He's going to need to be available closer towards the end of the season because, as much as we like to talk about the success of Kevin Durant seems to, season after season, not be hobbled so much towards the end of the season, but have to carry a team so much that it prevents him from getting to that next stage. He's had his success and getting his championship has been bolstered by the fact that he's had great help, great talent around him. Um, Getting to those high win totals is because he was able to do what he could do and not have to worry about the wreckage behind him or any the other team catching up to him and him scoring 30 and then scoring 30 in a loss, scoring 38 in a loss. That happened too much to Phoenix last year. I think this year is going to be the year that Phoenix says, no, we got the talent, we're good. So yeah, Phoenix up there, division winners. We'll see what happens though. We got new coach coming in for Phoenix, and almost at Bickerstaff. Bickerstaff's over over in Cleveland. Um, you know what? I'm gonna let my guests here talk about it a little bit. Uh, Come on, baby. Say 1, 2, 3. Oh, you want to say hi to everyone? You want to say good morning? We're talking about the Pacific Division. We're talking about the Clippers right now. You want to talk about the Clippers? Yes, your hand. Good job. Hey, good morning, guys. Hey, for you guys you don't know, this is always my special guest. This is my daughter, Quinn. Quinn, say hi to everyone. She likes to help me break down some of the stuff or do some of these shows. Um, Cuteness abound, and she loves the camera. I have no idea why, but she knows what to do. Clippers in the Pacific Division, opening up Intuit Dome. Steve Ballmer, Tyronn Lue, Kawhi Leonard, James Harden. Supposed to be all we need to know. Questions abound about this team, but we have them 2 games behind the Lakers. Okay. Clippers up there at 49 and 33. Could be matchup greatness, could be a matchup nightmare because, again, their big two, not always available. James Harden did carry the Clippers for a few games when they had to rest Paul George. He was out with ankle injury or something like that. And Kawhi had been out for what other reasons? JC says hi. You say hi, JC. Say hi. Oh, you got Islam joining us too. Nothing but chaos and happiness here at TSA hoops. But yeah, the Clippers are going to live and die by this sword, which is we let Paul George go, and we believe that Kawhi and Harden can carry us to the promised land. They did have some good offseason acquisitions. They did pick up Derek Jones Jr. in the offseason, which is going to help bolster their interior defense greatly. Something that they're going to need so that way teams can't just waltz in, and start scoring on them. I mean, you still got Zubats. They're still pretty decent as far as being an offensively sound team. But this is the same team that sort of sputtered down towards the end of the season and nearly lost it against Dallas. But Dallas decided to drop the ball and take that 5th seed, and we all know what happened from there. So now then the question becomes, do you go over or under that win total? This is a soft 49, and it's mainly a soft 49 because we don't have a complete 100% look at what the starting lineup is going to be for Los Angeles. I mean, yeah, they're finally getting their new home for the season, but the added pressure of being brand new and this expectation of being able to do better than what they did last season and believing in the fact this team saying that they didn't need Paul George to win, I believe. Yes, it is. His daddy's coffee. I believe that until we know what it is for sure, we need to go ahead and if you're betting the under, I believe that's okay. But we'll see. Just got a few minutes here left. Got a couple teams to go. Don't forget, this is a Pacific Division. We're talking about that. And for all you guys that are just tuning in or just watching this on your replay, don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button. Sports Affiliation pumping out daily content, y'all. Make sure to go to thesportsaffiliation.com. This video and a lot of our content that we're talking about today as far as NBA and everything in the future as far as hoops and football are concerned, also on that website, sportsaffiliation.com. Hit that like and subscribe button to our channel so that way you don't miss out on anything, because we are talking also the Fantasy Football Expo later with a lot of TSA experience coming up later today. I think it's going to be noon our time, noon Pacific time. So, yeah, stay tuned for that. But rounding out the Pacific Division today, we got two more squads. Got the Sacramento Kings and the Golden State Warriors. Out of those two teams, who do you guys think is the more successful team out of those two teams for this season? The Kings or the Warriors? It's Dub Nation, baby. Golden State Warriors, although not ultimately successful this season, they're on their I believe they're on their last legs of that golden age. Golden State coming in at 32 wins, was actually a good amount of wins, but they're sitting right behind San Antonio, who's up there at 35. Yeah, the chef is returning this season. Chef Curry is returning this season. And it's going to be absolutely insane watching what he does now that he's had that contract extension. But this team has had some interesting acquisitions. I mean, Chris Paul is gone, but now they have Buddy Hield. They're still sitting on Andrew Wiggins, and I have no idea what they're going to do with him. Klay Thompson is gone. Klay Thompson is gone, y'all. That's really. I watched this team get built, and I'm watching it essentially fall by the wayside. I don't think that this team has enough front court defense in order to sustain leads, to be able to protect the 3-point line in a division and even at large a conference where teams are going to shoot the lights out. Again, we got to keep our eye on Phoenix and their scoring volume. If they're a team that starts shooting the lights out, I don't think the Dubs are going to be able to catch up. And they have to play, again, another 20 to 24 games of these division games. They're going to get beat on the outside, and they may get beat on the inside too. Curry is not going to be enough. Draymond and all his yelling and his antics aren't going to be enough. But Hield is a great volume 3-point shooter, but he is not enough. I mean, I know that this team is starting to look at their young talent, trying to play them, trying to get them up to form, but they're going to be successful, but not enough to get into the playoffs. It's going to be very tight this season. And lastly, Sacramento Kings, y'all. Sacramento Kings could be, if one of you guys are bold enough to bet on the Kings to get a huge over on the win total this season, you let me know, because I want to make sure to repost that to the site, break that down with you. Okay, you make sure to find me on X or find us at Sports Affiliation. We will talk about it. We will post you up, okay? Because the Sacramento Kings I have here listed at 20 wins, 20-62, which is a significant drop off from the previous season total. Just not enough there for me to convince me that they're going to be that successful in the Pacific Division this year. We don't know what's happening with everybody on that team, specifically Malink Monk, De'Aaron Fox. They got the double-double machine, Domantas Sabonis there. But is that as a team going to be enough? Probably not, but we'll see. And man, we ran out of time here. We're going to get back into it. And I told you guys, this is going to be a lot. It's a lot of content, a lot of stuff to get through. But you guys, thank you for bearing with me through this. We're going to be back next week on Sunday, 7:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. You guys be there with your questions. You make sure to add us at the Sports Affiliation on X. Follow us there. Make sure to hit the like, subscribe button. Tune in to the channel later today because we got more fantasy content coming up to y'all. Don't forget, yesterday is the last Sunday without football, y'all. I told my wife that, and she had a look of dread. But she also did this stuff behind me, so that's absolutely cool, y'all. Hey, cap game on point. Love you guys. Thank you for tuning in. We're going to go ahead and wrap this up here. We are getting out of here. You guys have a good Labor Day. Enjoy your holiday. Be safe out there. Don't work too hard. Enjoy your barbecue. You want to say bye?
Bye.
Peace.